Okay, so you can take a seat or lie down, closing the eyes, opening the palms, and taking a few deep breaths. And then resting your awareness to the breath and just allowing life to flow through you. And life is flowing through you uniquely. And that doesn't have to be changed, that doesn't have to be altered. I know that on any given day, a lot of things are happening. But let's get on board with all those things. Let's get on board with life, because in the end of the day, what you can feel or sense when you tune into this space here, and of course, I don't mean to interpret what you feel when you're in this space, but let's just say that I know for some of you there is energy palpable. There's something coming online, there's something opening up, there is some space, some calm, some alignment with your humanity, some experience of pure energy. And I know that life sometimes does so many things that are hard for us to get on board with. But I guess what I'm trying to say today is that it is safe to get on board with life. And that you getting on board with life will at some point result in you living in the conscious communion with your essence, with source energy, and with this beautiful, overwhelming realm that we are in, that we are a part of. And why it is important to get on board with life is because as long as you keep on resisting it or rejecting it or pushing back at it, you cannot live in the tenderness that you so long for. You cannot live in the receiving that you so wish. You cannot live in the fullness of life itself. And for me, I love this word, tenderness, because when we soften inside ourselves, when we open our hearts to everything, and when we align with what actually is happening around us and what actually is happening inside us in relationship to what's happening around us, we start to almost open up something more, something beyond it, something deeper. And so the getting on board and the aligning and the willingness to experience it, those three things, they are literally the on-ramp into an infinite expression of life. And I feel that life is happening to usher us inwards. I don't think there is anything else happening than an intelligence moving around for you to meet yourself and meet where you put boundaries or limitations or hold on to something old that actually is in the way of you receiving the beauty. And this is why I feel it's okay now to get on board with life, and why getting on board with life instantaneously allows us to start receiving. And what we are receiving is actually this beautiful energetic expression. You know, we are living, walking, talking, breathing while standing under a shower or a bath or an expression of golden light. And it's a strange sentence to say to someone, but somehow you showing up here in some ways means that you've gone through something that allows you to connect to that experientially. And so, where I sound absolutely crazy to most human beings, to the people that are showing up here, in some way, on some level, I do not. And so, there is something inside you that knows it is so much more than the circumstances. There is something inside you that knows there is so much more possible than what you allow yourself to experience most of the time. There's something inside you that is aware that you're getting lost in one layer of perception and one layer of reality. And you start to notice that that just doesn't feel good anymore. Right? So, because we are not getting on board with what is, we want to put an agenda onto the unfolding, and we are getting stuck in that layer, and we are painfully aware when that happens. So then getting on board with it, relaxing into yourself and just welcoming your experience then allows you to fall into that which you truly long for. And the beautiful thing is, at least to me, that every human being deeply longs for its own essence. Every human being deeply longs for feeling connected to something that is never taken away, something full, something complete, something pure. It's not for nothing that human beings feel drawn to nature or feel drawn to small children or to animals. We have this deep longing for the purity that we already are. And I feel so privileged to understand that that which I long for, I already am. And I think in the same way, you can take a moment and just feel the privilege of having a deeper understanding of that. Because then it's only ever you getting on board with what life is actually doing anyways. And you allowing life to do what it's doing. So that which we have a hard time getting on board with is actually an infinite intelligence showing us our created self, showing us the pain, showing us the limitation, showing us the boundary. Of course, it's a perceived boundary, it's a perceived limitation, it's even a perceived pain. But we have to meet where we have blocked the flow of everything, where we have blocked our own receiving, so we can include it and we can start to receive throughout all of it. Starting to feel this beautiful opening. Everything is energy. Everything is movement. And everything that you are meeting that you maybe have a harder time getting on board with is only ever your personal lens of perception. It is never the infinite truth of things. So then the answer, if you wish to live in the state of the infinite, then we have to get on board with the personal perception as is. Because if we don't, we get stuck there. We get stuck in resisting, then we get stuck in trying to change it or to improve it. Acceptance really allows for the alchemy that dissolves the illusion of boundaries within you. It dissolves the illusion of limitation within you. It dissolves the illusion of the trauma and the pain within you. And I by no means want to make smaller something that happened in your life that feels big. By no means. However, when you are getting on board with it and when you can let it move through, it starts to dissolve. So then it's not part of the part in you that is eternal. It's not part of the part in you that is everlasting. And it's not something that you have to hold on to. You don't have to hold on to the perception of limitations, the perception of the boundaries, the perception of the pain. You can actually step into a reality where you accept and you allow this acceptance to bring forth the alchemy of energy within you, because that's really all that's happening here. It's an alchemy of energy. You are allowing everything that you thought was this solid picture of yourself, this created self, you are allowing it to start moving and to dissolve. And then what's left is essence. And this heaven on earth that people are talking about, it's living life from the alignment with essence. So then you get the feedback loop of the benevolent, of the infinite, of the pure love, of the spaciousness, of the life force, of the vibrancy. And the beautiful thing is that in that perception of the infinite, everything is the same. Everyone is the same, carries the same. And so you start to experience and receive from that part. And you start to, and this might sound a little strange, but you start to process life through that part. This is why when I open the screen, I almost want to cry tears of bliss, because what I feel is the sum total of the pure love and the pure life force and the pure energy of everybody on this call. Because life is energy, and either we perceive it through our personal lens, through the lens of the past, through one perspective, or we experience it straight through the heart with no interpretation as pure energy. And it's overwhelming how much light there is in this world, how much love there is in this world, how much aliveness there is in this world. So seeing if we can experience what I'm talking about. Becoming aware of whatever's coming up in your experience. And allowing it to be just that. And whatever it is, there is no hierarchy. Whether it's fear or joy, anger or sadness. Accepting that. Accepting what is unfolding in your life, and especially the things, the circumstances, the people that you get preoccupied with, you release them to creation. You release them. We don't need to have them swallow our attention. And instead we go inwards with our attention and we meet there our humanity. And then we choose it. And then we let the experience move through us. And in doing so, we don't get caught in it. Now, from this alignment and from allowing energy to move through, we can start to humbly and lovingly ask for the experience of pure energy without personal lens, without a personal interpretation. And we can start to notice that whatever is moving through us as sadness can actually alchemize into life energy. Everything is being restored to life energy. The rage you kept deep inside just leaves your system in the form of heat. The fear leaves your system in the form of shakiness or coolness. But what's leaving is your personal perception, and what is uncovered is the infinite. And every wave of energy that you actually welcome starts to dissolve and starts to shift back into its infinite expression. And this is why the personality is full and the soul is empty. Spacious, see-through, soft, tender, beautiful, receiving, ever receiving. So what would life feel like if, instead of meeting through your surroundings, the perception of limitation, the perception of pain, the perception of boundaries, the perception of whatever, you start to meet essence. Infinitely receiving in all of life, through all of life. And that life form doesn't have to be in the perception of the truth, the deeper underlying cadence and rhythm of life, for you to actually feel it and receive it. And that's the beautiful thing. And then if you can actually receive this beautiful cadence of life by simply getting on board with what life is doing and then allowing life to move, then what has to change? Then what has to be different? So I realized a long time ago, and I had this conversation this morning with a dear friend, that apparently we are in the last day, or this is the first day of the Chinese horse, I believe, and we leave the snake behind. And this friend said that people are so excited about the horse because of what it represents. And then I said to this friend, I love the snake. Let me shed and shed and shed till there's nothing left. I don't need the outward, the forward, the extravagant. I just want to strip down to nothing, because in the nothing, I feel everything. So to me, there is nothing more beautiful than life happening. To me, there's nothing more beautiful than meeting whatever I still have to. I love deepening my relationship with Source. I love deepening my relationship with creation, with the God within, with the tender, with the soft. I live for it. There is no carrot that you can dangle in front of me, a carrot of a job or of an interesting position of some sort, or of money, or of traveling, or whatever the carrot is. I just want to get on board with life, in what life is doing, because I understand what it's doing. So what would your life feel like if you could get on board with it? If you could commit to it, if you could live in this endless falling that only ever brings you more essence, more soul, more source, more expansion. And of course, it's not like essence, soul expands, but your ability to connect to it, to house it, to feel it is ever expanding. Your form is catching up with your infinite nature. This is why you're here. This is why you're sitting with me. And this is why on some level I make sense to you, or something here does. You know, maybe it's not me, maybe it's not the words I'm saying, but something deeper that you can feel in your own body, a resonance, a remembrance, or whatever it is. Makes sense. So something makes sense to some part of you. And that's why this is so beautiful. Fully and completely allowing yourself now to receive that part, because that part actually is fully expressing right now. That part actually doesn't need you to have the next thing figured out. That part actually doesn't need you to be a together human being at all. So let's say you would struggle mentally right now, or emotionally, or you would have a hard time seeing people in your life struggle. Or maybe you are busy workshopping yourself, or whatever that is. It doesn't matter. Sensing knowing and feeling that it doesn't matter. Sensing, knowing, and feeling that your created self doesn't have any influence on this deeper truth, that it flows through you, whether your form is healthy or sick. It flows through you, whether you are preoccupied with mind or not. It flows through you, no matter how your nervous system is processing reality right now. It has always, is now, and will always flow through you and express through you. The only thing is that when you can get on board with yourself and with life, you start to notice it. Just to be with that for a second, then you start to notice it and you start to receive it. And this truth doesn't need anything from you. It is anyway flowing through you, fully and completely. Not more when you're joyful and less when you're sad. That is nonsense. That is a half-baked cookie of an analogy. It is flowing through you fully and completely always. The only thing is that when you get on board with life as it's happening, and you get on board with yourself as you're happening, you start to notice it. You start to connect to it. Because soul and source doesn't have an agenda for you. Soul or source doesn't have a preference about you. Soul or source simply is beaming through all that is at the highest rate always. And your life is unfolding so that you can become aware of your personal self, so that you can accept it and fall through it into the infinite self. And the funny thing is that it doesn't matter what you are accepting. The only thing that matters is that you align with life so you can start to notice what is actually happening underneath it or opening up through it. And then by you noticing it, the layers of your expression start to align with it and start to consciously express it. So allowing your body to source its experience from this essence. Allowing your nervous system now to source its experience from this essence. Allowing your mind to align with this essence. This is also why there is a contradiction in trying to be busy, understanding, changing, workshopping yourself, and actually being the soul that you are. Because the soul that you are actually doesn't require any of that. It requires nothing from you. It just holds you in sameness. Holding yourself like creation holds you. Feeling what getting on board with life opens you up to. And starting to experience this expression, however it translates to you, emanate out of your skin, filling your room, your home, your neighborhood, your country, your continent, and this globe. and starting to see, feel, experience what oneness actually feels like. Because we love talking about it, but we don't love living it so much, because we are attached to the hierarchy. We're attached to standing out, but from oneness, it really is one ocean of energy expressing through all forms. Seeing that clearly now, feeling that clearly now. And it's a blessing to see it and to feel it. And you will never win in an argument, but it dwells in the worst, perceived worst and perceived best human being absolutely equally. It dwells in all of life equally. Everyone is equal parts infinite, equal parts soul, equal parts source. Taking a breath. And on the exhale, start moving down through the layers of the earth, spotting your continent, your country, your city, village, street, neighborhood, your house, your room, your body, and letting all of that energy move through you into the pelvis, through the pelvis into the earth. Anchoring yourself, full of excitement, as the human that you are, as the form that you inhabit, and as the soul that is expressing and that is with you in your awareness, never leaving your awareness ever again. Why? Because it doesn't require anything from you in order to be with you. Getting on board with life today. You can open your eyes, keeping the gaze soft, and slowly bringing your awareness all the way back. Thank you.